What happens if you get hurt or an illness and you can't run the business? All of a sudden the business starts to fall apart because you didn't take the time to build people and processes.
We've talked to owners before who, as I referenced, taking a trip isn't really a vacation, it's working from a different location.
A telltale sign, you kind of hinted at it, would be is that if you have kids and you can't attend their ball games. I got to work late. I've got a contract, client called and it's got this problem. If you're missing a lot of activities, your business is probably not that valuable.
Hey there, entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Scale to Sell podcast, the business owners podcast designed to help you build transferable value, create more freedom, and exit on your terms. This is episode number 67, Why Founder Dependency is Quietly Limiting Your Growth, Freedom, and Business Value. Steve, always great to have you on the podcast. We ended up, for those of you that listened to episode 66, had a random solo moment where it was just me having a conversation with you. But we're glad to have Steve back and get his insight and perspective from a number of the conversations that he has with business owners all the time. And this is where this conversation really stems from: the amount of times that we've talked to business owners who have said things like, I'm the most important person in my business. If I'm not there, things don't happen. Or I can't remember the last time I took a meaningful vacation and didn't have to answer the phone, answer emails, respond to some fire going on with customers or supply chain issues or whatever the case may be. It happens a lot. And oftentimes owners think that that's a sign of the value that they're adding, but it's actually in many ways an indicator of an over-reliance on them and a lack of value in the actual business itself.
In the early stages, everybody's got I call it a grinder. I was talking to somebody the other day. I said, in the early stages of your business, you're just getting going. You're going to be grinding it out, right? Thinking about Elon Musk and him in the news, and he's just notorious for working long hours, sleeping on the job, just grinding it out. And then he starts another multi-trillion-dollar business, whatever. But my point is, he grinds it out. But that's great if you do it for a while and get the business up and cruising. But it's another thing if it's to your point there, if it's the ongoing, the business has to have you like that. One, it's not only hard on the business, it limits your growth, as you mentioned, but as you also mentioned, it's hard on your lifestyle. Leads to burnout, stressful situations, missing of if you've got a family, your kids, ball games, and just life in general. And all of a sudden you wake up and you might have a successful business one day, but you missed out on your kids. And a lot of times I've seen divorce and other things, bad things happen too.
So essentially, and really the question that we're getting at here is, what if the very habits that helped you build the business are the things that are actually now holding you back from the freedom and growth that you desire? And like you were saying, a lot of times, especially in that startup phase, there's a lot of input that is central to you because of what you're creating and what you're trying to get established. But if it stays that way, if there are never systems and processes, if there's never a documentation of the things that you do and the ways that you do them, then you're going to be the bottleneck of your business. Everything ends up flowing through you. You aren't developing leaders who can manage outcomes and help continue to grow the business and create that sales engine to help increase things. It's all based on what you do.
And sometimes people, they won't do it as good as I do. We've talked about this before. Well, they could do it better, but in your mindset, but you got to find and recruit the right type of talent. And because if you don't, you can only do so much. Yes, you're the greatest salesperson in your business. Fantastic. You're the greatest customer service representative. That's awesome as well. You're the inventory expert. You do the books. You're the CEO, the COO, and all those things. But again, if you don't start handing off some responsibility, nobody's going to buy your business. There's no value there. Well, Steve, I'm doing $20 million, $30 million, $100 million a year in business. It doesn't matter. There's no value there because you haven't developed teams and processes. And how do you know that? Because it's too much owner dependence. We see it far too often.
So one of the things that we talk about, the balance between the business, the personal, and the financial. And the one that often gets left out of that conversation for the vast majority of business owners, unless they're talking to people like us, certified exit planning advisors, whose focus is on helping business owners align those three things, is that personal aspect of life, the life beyond the business. And oftentimes the business owner's worth, they feel like, is tied to the business. And so they look at what they contribute and how central they are as like the key indicator of their personal success, of their identity as a business owner. But there's a difference between being valuable, being able to contribute and add things without being required. The requirement is where the issue comes in. It's great when you have a founder who's invested in what the company's doing and is helping grow the leadership and build the talent pool and provide that vision of where the company's going. But it's a different thing to have a business owner or a founder who has to be there all the time doing the daily operations, the working in the business, not on the business type stuff that we talk about. That's where you get the problem of the owner dependency, and where it becomes an indicator, not just in the transition process when you're looking at the value of the business, but in what that means for quality of life and the type of work that you're able to do and the longevity and the legacy that you're leaving.
And we've seen it. We've seen people get hurt, and that owner, well, it's one thing if you go to sell it and you go, okay, I got to hire some people, train some people up. But what happens if you get hurt or an illness and you can't run the business? All of a sudden the business starts to fall apart because you didn't take the time to build people and processes. And anyway, your business is going to grow a lot quicker if you have key people around you. I can think of a couple business owners that just off the top of my head where they have a life, they have a solid business. One in particular is just crushing it and gets to take time with his family and do all kinds of things because he's got the right people in the right places. We talked about the A-listers, they're having those key people right there and nurturing them and recruiting them. And anyway, and then you're going to have your worker bees out there that are showing up for a paycheck. And then you got the people that are just, I don't know why they're even here, and you're looking to replace them too. But you've got to train those people up, and it shows up in the valuation. It shows up in your quality of life. If you're a telltale sign, you kind of hinted at it, would be is that if you have kids and you can't attend their ball games, right? I got to work late. I've got a contract I got to get this bid in on, or I got a client called and it's got this problem. If you're missing a lot of activities, your business is probably not that valuable.
We're coming up on a couple of times where we'll be out of the office, and we've had this one before. One of them is our big annual trip with the family, and everyone kind of goes and it's a great time. But we've talked to owners before who, as I referenced, taking a trip isn't really a vacation. It's working from a different location. And the idea of, because they end up solving problems, they end up working and missing out on even those opportunities when they're supposed to be unplugged.
I got to take this call. Yeah. I'll be right back.
Yeah. And then 3 hours later, I got to work on this thing. But we've said this before in different contexts, the vacation test, right? If your business can't run without you for X amount of days, 2 weeks, a month, whatever the case may be, you don't have a scalable company yet. It's a job with employees. One of the things, a phrase that you used to use that I'm so glad I don't hear anymore is, it's me and I have 12 assistants. Like the idea of like, it's all you, and then you have all of the support behind. Like, it's great that you have a team behind you, but there's a difference between having a system that can run without you because you've got processes in place. You have team members that are trained and that understand how and are empowered to make decisions and can move the company forward, not just be at a place where they're trying to maintain while you're out of the office. And
it took us a while to build that team up. I've got teammates that have been with us a long time. I treat them like family, and they respond like family. Even though they don't have ownership stakes in the business, they operate from, hey, they're looking out for me even when I'm not there. And I used to be, like you said, I've done radio shows live from vacation before, webinars with clients, phone calls, and just every little thing. Now I'm kind of the mindset, call me if somebody dies. Other than that, I don't bug me, and because I know it's running, the business is running like it should.
Exactly. And the cost, I think, is something that the business owners don't often take the time to think about, right? They're too busy working in the business to think about the impact that it has on the business. Because it's one, the valuation. We've talked about it and you've had conversations. I know the next episode on the Scale to Sell podcast, episode number 68, that'll be coming out next, is with Jeff Snell and talking about the valuation of the business. And we've talked about those examples where you get the number from a potential buyer, and then they start looking under the hood at what the quality of the business really is. And do you have the different things in place? And they start dinging the price based on the things that you have or really don't have in place that introduce risk to the buyer. That's certainly one of them. We've talked about the quality of time. The ability, if you're the one that has to be the decision maker for every single thing, everything has to go through you. There's no structure in place of delegated authority to handle things outside of you. Then you are the ceiling for how big your business can grow because there's only so much that you can do.
Or I can't afford to. I can't afford to bring on somebody else. That's a warning sign too. If you can't afford to, then something's wrong in your business and you're limiting the value. A key operations manager, right, with a salary and bonuses and some incentive to grow that business. People want to be part of a team. They want to, even if they don't have ownership, they want to be part of a team and part of something, right? And when you do that, your life will change. Your life will change. They'll pay, that investment will pay for itself many times over, not just in top line and bottom line numbers in your business on a monthly basis, but also if you do ever sell it, whether it's an internal sale to your kids, that key operations manager, or whether it's to a competitor or a third party, private equity, large or small. So there's a number of things. It should be in your mindset. As we start saying, if some of these business owners listening will start to go, well, that's me, and well, that's a concern. How do I fix it? Yeah. Most of you don't know how to fix it. That's why we have a team. We have a team of experts from people helping you scale your business to sell your business. And just all you got to do, and that's why you're listening to the podcast. And I want to encourage you to reach out to us as well.
Scaletosell.com/value, right? Scaletosell.com/value. Buyers don't buy the owner, right? That's why owner-dependent businesses are either discounted or unsellable. When they see the owner is the business, they see risk, and risk drops the price or kills the deal altogether. Another area where this becomes evident is in the area of AI. So in the past episode, I was talking about what this looks like as a leadership issue, not just a technology issue, and what it looks like for leaders in a company to really create the culture around being an AI first company. Like, how do we solve this problem? How do we empower our human teams with technology in order to do this? But AI itself doesn't fix a broken system, right? It either is going to amplify what you already have regardless. Either it's going to make it better and help with a clear process that's documented. It's going to elevate that and help you take that those things to the next level, help make you 10 times faster, whatever the case may be. But no systems or lack of systems in place is just going to create more chaos that you're going to have to handle and manage. It's not going to solve that. And so when it comes to understanding what the business is, what the processes are, what your role in it should be, oftentimes we see owners looking for the shiny object, but missing out on the fact of it comes down to what systems you already have in place and how do we create a delegation structure to be able to have the right people on the team empowered to accomplish those purposes and to be able to grow the business in a way that's not dependent on you, the owner.
No doubt. And some of you are stuck right there because I hear it a lot with employee retention. Employee retention, because you don't have the right systems and processes in place, you're turning people over left and right. And we've said it before on the podcast, it typically costs 25 to 200% of whatever your salary was for that employee to replace them. So the business may be dependent on you because you can't keep employees. And that's what makes value when, to your point, when people buy a company, they're not buying the owner. The owner is going to be out of there. It's, there may be a timeline where they keep you on for a while just through a transition type period, but they're buying your people and processes and your client list, but the people and processes, and you may find yourself stuck in owner dependence because you haven't figured out how to hire and retain, develop processes. AI, as you mentioned, we have an employer recently that they're bidding, there's a construction company, and their bidding processes take up a lot of their time, and they asked our team to help build out an AI platform for them to streamline the bidding process. So whatever it might be, we have teammates or we have our own people that can help you, advance your business again to make it more valuable and not as dependent on you.
Absolutely. So no matter whether you are looking to keep growing the business, whether you're in that period of time where you're preparing for an exit, regardless of that, I know every single business owner wants to improve the quality of their life. Wants to be able to have the freedom to work. How many times business owners have told us, I created this business, I started it so that I could create the freedom that I wanted to in my family, with my life, my finances, and then the business becomes the jail or the trap that they're stuck in because they haven't created the things around it that are necessary to scale beyond themselves. The future belongs to owners who build systems that scale beyond themselves.
What was my thing about 5 or 6, 7 years ago? I wanted to make more,
work less.
Make more, work less. Because I'd grinded it out for decades.
Yeah, you've done it.
All right. And through multiple businesses, dozens of businesses, and I'm just over it. And so, and I've got it up to that model where we're making more money than ever. I take more vacations than I ever, and I don't look back when I go on vacation. And it's not that I don't check in with the office when I'm gone and to see what's happened or whatever, but I love it when I call back and I go, no, we're good. I love that.
And it's different when you get to because you want to rather than you have to. Like there is a difference in the dynamic there where it's just like, hey, I just want to know what's going on. That's fine.
Keep the money coming. That's all I care about.
So what does this look like from a practical standpoint as we're having this conversation here? What are some of the practical things that you can do as you're starting down this journey of, okay, here's what I've been doing, but here's where I need to go in order to create a less dependent business. Really, business independence day. This is what we're talking about here. At the time of recording, we're approaching America's 250th. So I guess independence is on my brain. What can I do? What can only I do right now? The list of things that are stuck on my plate that are me centered in terms of having to accomplish those things. And then ask the question, why? Why does it have to be you? And how could someone else duplicate your system that has been successful, that has garnered you the success on an individual level? How do you turn that and make it into something that can be repeatable by someone else? You're creating a system to replace yourself.
Our valuation system measures not just your top and bottom line numbers. It shows and tells us if there's too much employee turnover, too much client concentration, and it tells a number of different things. To me, and it's free. That we don't charge anything for it. They can go to scale2sell.com/value, scale2sell.com/value, and get that free valuation. In my personal opinion, you should have that done annually.
Well, it's like the warning system, the checkups, the things that you do on a regular basis to see, okay, where am I at compared to last year? What's changed and what needs to change in order to take that next step? So whether it's figuring out what things are on your list that shouldn't be, documenting things that you know that no one else knows. That's another dangerous one that a lot of founders have because they've been and done it all in the business. There's so much intellectual property trapped up in the mind that if they don't document it, you could lose out on a lot of valuable opportunity
AI
there.
anymore can help you document that.
Clarifying who owns what decisions and how you're able to delegate different things so that it's not stuck based on you having to be the one to decide all of those things. All of those things are helping you create a company that's more valuable, that gives you more freedom outside of the business to do what you want to, and give you more exit options at the time. One of the things that I've really appreciated about some of the conversations that we have with other certified exit planning advisors, and when we were at the conference a couple months ago now, talking about what a valuable business does to the quality of exit options that you have and the amount of them. Things that you wouldn't have necessarily considered, but when you look at it, it becomes the right thing for you, for your family, for your employees, for the legacy of the business that you're creating. But if it's all dependent on you, then you're restricting, you're limiting what is available to you. And it could limit the financial longevity of what you're able to do, the freedom on that side of things, and ultimately what the business is going to look like in the second, third generations after you.
100%. You're right. Even if it's going on to the kids, well, my kids are going to take it over. Even more reason to document and have systems and processes. And your kids may not be wanting to do everything you do. They see what you do. The younger generations they want that work-life balance, right? Unlike us, me as a baby boomer, we just grinded it out.
Unlike us.
My generation was just out there 60, 80 hours a week, whatever it took, and more hours. Well, no, not you. When I said us, I'm talking about the vast majority of business owners are still the baby boomers. And although younger people are starting to step into the shoes right now. So I can't tell you, and I've seen businesses that were worth tens of millions of dollars and something happened in the values. And now the business is not marketable, may not walk away with anything where just a handful of years ago, owner burnout, health situation, something happens, and what could have been a great exit is now falling apart.
Yeah. The businesses that sell for the most, that have the most options, and that feel free rather than feeling like you're trapped are rarely built around one person. They're rarely built around that owner that starts everything and just keeps control of it and doesn't figure out how to build processes that replace them and give them the opportunity to do that. It takes work and it takes guidance to be able to do that, but it's doable, and it allows you to create the life and the business that you want. And that's what we love to see here at Scale to Sell.
And you may not want to exit, but you don't want to work and
same
keep
way
grinding
forever.
it out when you're 80 or 90 years old, right? You want to have a life, or most people do anyway. So even if you want to continue to own the business, having these things done will allow you to, whether your exit is to die at your desk at age 95, but have a life and be able to do some things in the meantime. But if something crashes and burns, will the business be viable? It's your baby. You want to be able to continue that business or hand it off to somebody else that will continue, or even build on your dream. But anyway, there's so many things, offshoots here. These are great talking points.
Absolutely. If you haven't gotten your evaluation yet, go to scaletosell.com/value, scaletosell.com/value. Not only does it give you, I know you're going to talk about this with Jeff on the next episode, but this isn't just for someone who's looking to exit right away. This is for someone who's also looking to grow the business, wants to build value, and at the same time wants to enjoy more of the life outside of work as well. Having both. It's a both and, not an either or type situation. So scaletosell.com/value. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast, follow us, like and review it, and it'll help us find even more business owners to join this community of entrepreneurs helping to encourage each other to grow and exit on their terms. We look forward to it. And until next time, keep scaling.